Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Ask Sophie. Super excited to do this one and you've given me lots of good questions considering there isn't much transfer news at the moment. I'm just really looking forward to speaking to you all as I always do. Who likes my new top, by the way? I went down to the mega store. They really haven't got much at the moment, so I was there like, what can I get that's like a cool chilled top? So yeah, I think I might still cut it here so I don't look so weird. But yeah, I really like this one, it's very comfy. I also got a Kante one, a Kante France one as well, which is sick. Yeah, so let's get on with it then, shall we? First things first, Ian, I'm sorry I can't cut your grass at the weekend. I used to hate doing that as a kid and as like a chore of the week, and I don't have any grass now, and there's a reason for that. You know, there's a lot of maintaining. I think I'd have to get a gardener in if I had you know, a garden, a decent garden. But yeah, sorry Ian, I'm sure you'll find someone. Okay, PS underscore 20 times, hi darling, says, what is your greatest strength? I love that question. Greatest strength, I don't know if it's a strength, but I've always gone to work, so I've always worked, I've always had at least, even when I was at uni, I've always had two jobs at least, if not three. I mean, I've still got 3 or 4 now, of course, but yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good strength. And that's something that I think we should all be doing more of. So yeah, always going to work. So what's the word? Career focused? I don't know. I suppose that's the only thing I could think of that I'm good at, because I mean I don't really have any other strengths, to be honest. I'm quite good at remembering things, I suppose, when I want to. But other than that, I would say that's my biggest strength, just being a hard worker. I think that's a good strength to have. Next question is from Shannon Wells. If you could pick one player, any player in the world to sign, who would it be and why? Oh, good question. There's many questions I like. Do you know who I do like, actually? And a lot of you will probably disagree with me. It's Eriksen from Tottenham. Sorry, it's Tottenham, but yeah, when we played against him, I do get a little bit nervous. I think he's instrumental in the reason why they've started doing so well, that along with their manager. And I just think he'd be a really, really good addition to Chelsea, and especially when we come to playing Spurs, I think he'd be a huge loss for them. Do I ever think it would happen? No, unfortunately. But yeah, that would be my number one if I was going to have to choose. Next question. When are we going to know, oh, this is from Mason. Hi Mason. When are we going to know who next season's manager will be? Excellent question. Listen, I think because of the whole World Cup, I think that's definitely slowed things down in terms of transfers, in terms of news. You know, we try the best on the channel not to sort of, you know, name drop in a title, so we can't really be reporting on things that aren't happening at the moment, which is why it's gone so quiet. But I would say towards the end of the World Cup last week, or if not, the minute it ends, it will be announced, because at the end of the day, we've got to get it sorted sooner or later. I still think Sarri is the front runner ahead of Antonio Conte. If not, I mean, worst comes to worst, and I'm thinking about this, if Conte has to start the season and then we sack him, maybe that will be the case. I'm not saying that's what I want either, but I'm just saying that, you know, it's another possibility. But I do think Sarri is still a front runner. I just think that the contract situation is slowing that down a little bit, and they probably don't want to release the news until after the World Cup, I suppose, until all that drama's finished, because yeah, I suppose even for players though, they don't want to be off-put, and that's just to focus on solely on the World Cup. Of course, we haven't got many Chelsea players in the England squad, but you know, Belgium, likes of Hazard, Brazil, Willian, I'm sure that will be something that's sort of dealt with as time goes on. So yeah, we will do our best to keep you updated with that. But yeah, it's a very slow process, and again, we are always really slow with these things. So it's not good, but it's not surprising, is it? Next question then is from something Claude. I'm not going to read the rest of it, it's a bit rude, but I do like your question was alright. What do you think of the news that Fellaini is about to sign for Chelsea? First I've heard of that. Charlie's not even told me that, so if that's true, I think that would be awful. Fellaini, no, come on now. I'm not saying he's been awful in recent years, I'm just saying that I don't think he's right for Chelsea FC. Comment below if you think that, but that's the first I've heard of that, so I'll give Charlie a ring after this Ask Sophie and see if there's any truth to that question, or rumour rather. Next question, expectations for next season. This is from Mike Rangel. Hey darling. Expectations realistically are just to get back into the top 4. Do I think we're going to win the Premier League next season? No, because I think we're going to mess about again, which is a shame, but I don't see that happening ASAP. I don't think, yeah, as in terms of transfers or manager, and I think again we're going to be leaving things a little bit late. But top four obviously is a plus, because I think we're quite lucky in the fact that we've got players like Hazard who won't leave just because of one season out of the Premier League. But I do think if it became 2 or 3, then they would start to think about moving on. So we do need to be super on the ball, and by that I mean making a couple of really good signings. And if Conte does stay, he's got to have some leeway. He's got to have some good relationship with the club still. So yeah, I would say just to aim for top 4. Again, try our best in the FA Cup. But do I think the Champions League will be ours next season? Absolutely not. Do I think we'll win the Premier League? Unfortunately not, unless we have a ray of sunshine. We just make some very odd signings that we don't normally do, but I don't think the money is there at the moment. Next question then, this from Leafield, and I did want to answer your question last but not least, because it was one of the good questions. Are Chelsea FC in danger of becoming a laughingstock due to the way the club is being ran? Would it be more beneficial in the long term for Roman to sell the club? Asked Sophie. Thank you, Lee. I think this is a tough one. I don't think Roman needs to sell. I think this has all come out of the fact that he decided to halt the stadium plans. There were all sorts of complications with that, and also when you're dealing with Hamilton Fulham Council, you know that was gonna sort of start a delay anyway. And we're very lucky that we haven't moved from Stamford Bridge, because that would be awful. But I would say I really don't think it needs to come to that, if I'm being honest. I think a lot of fans will start to think now that he needs to sell. We have to remember that he is an instrumental part in our success, and give him extreme credit for that. I think I just think that the transfer policy needs to change slightly. I think all these issues that we've had in the last few years could easily have been solved, easily have been dealt with, and there really was no reason to make such bad signings. I think managers aren't stupid. I think it should be, you know, some club signings, some manager signings. I think there should be, you know, some talk between the two. I'm sure Pep Guardiola gets a little bit of a say in who they sign, even though they have a bigger budget. And it would be nice if Chelsea did the same, you know. So yeah, I think it's just really important now that I suppose they just have a better relationship. You know, they work together more often and try that. Because if we have a different system, at the end of the day, we won't get ourselves into these states that we've had. And yeah, that's all I'd say there. And if it's not going to work out, then I'm sure we'll know. Next season's going to be a really interesting one, because we're actually going to see what happens in terms of all that sort of stuff. Next question then, just before I go. I'm liking talking to you guys, so I'll do a few more. Conte, who is Yusuf, I think it's Yusuf, says, how did you become a Chelsea fan? I don't know if I've answered this one before. My dad's always been a Chelsea fan. And he used to go to the games when I was super young. We didn't live anywhere near London, so it was a bit like a novelty, but I remember he used to get up at like 4 AM in the morning and go, and then come back either the next day or later on in the evening. And yeah, I remember being at home watching us play against United in the Champions League final, and I cried. And it wasn't actually till I moved to London when I actually got to go to all the games. I was super lucky to do so. I was really lucky. I got to work in a bar very close to the ground, and they said, you know, so if you work the match days, we'll let you go to the match during when it's on, as long as you come back and work. So even though I had to do like a 15-hour shift, at least I got to go to the game. So that's how it all really started, and at the end that's why I got the job on the channel in the first place, because they wanted an actual Chelsea fan who went to the game. So I was thrilled to be a part of it, and yeah, it's all gone from there. I've met some amazing friends, my best friends forever now, and yeah, I just really enjoy going to the games and getting drunk on some Euro aways. I don't really drink on the home games, and yeah, that's about it really. Hazard Holic says, what do you order at Nando's? Oh, who doesn't love Nando's? Like, who does not love Nando's? My Nando's order is actually normally, you're going to be surprised, a full chicken with sweet potato mash, creamy mash. Sometimes I have rice actually, and I always get some olives. Oh, should I get that tonight maybe? Maybe I'll get Nando's tonight. That's a pretty good shout, isn't it? Yeah, maybe I'll get Nando's tonight, so I'll do that as well. Yeah, you've got to be in the mood for that. But yeah, but sometimes I have a chicken burger. I love the Mediterranean salad. If I'm really not that hungry, I'll have a half chicken, which I'm sure is a meal for most people. But for me, you know, and that's that. Paul Evans, last question then, says, I'm a Man United fan, so what's your side news on Willian? Is it just a rumour, or is there a concrete offer? There's no concrete offer yet. I just think that the general consensus for that is Man United want him. purely also because Jose Mourinho really likes him, and there could be a Martial swap, which would be fantastic. I think Mourinho wants Martial to go abroad and play, which obviously is the ideal situation for him and is a very smart manager move on his part. However, it would mean that Chelsea don't really get anything in return, and at the end of the day, if we keep selling to Man United, they are going to end up higher in the league than us, aka like last season. Anyway, guys, comment below what you think of this week's Ask Sophie. Hopefully I've answered all your questions. Please head over to Twitter, CFC Fan TV, and next week I will try and answer as many as possible.